Hello, friends, and welcome back to this series. We are on episode 2, and we are discussing the roots of imposter syndrome today. In the previous episode, if you have been on my Swellcast channel, we identified what imposter syndrome is, its definition, and what it looks like when it shows up on individuals in our behaviors, etc. Today, I'm going to ask you to pause this for a second and really think about it. Was there a moment in your life when you really felt you didn't measure up? When was that pivotal point where you actually felt that? Was it sometime as a teenager? Was it when you were even younger, older, a job situation, a school situation, a relationship? Ask yourself this. It is a deep question to ask yourself. Please do. And then try and see if there is a pattern that emerges with this kind of self-doubt. For me, personally, for a long time, it was my appearance. I always felt I looked heavier than I was. I always felt I did not look attractive or presentable or, just not up to the standard. And I don't know what that standard was, but I felt no matter how well I dressed and no matter how many compliments I got, it just was not good enough. And I don't know what the standards were in my head and why I did that. But so that's a pattern, right? When you see that happening over and over again. Now, the important thing is once you've identified it is to look at some of the causes that these differ from people to people, individual to individual, circumstance to circumstance. One of the topmost causes for imposter syndrome is an innate sense of perfectionism. My daughter is a beautiful example. The child is terribly dedicated to whatever she does. She puts out the most beautiful forms of art in various mediums and colors, etc. And she'll put it out there, and it's absolutely mind-blowingly beautiful for someone so young. She's just 13, but she will find a flaw. She might sing a piece of music, she might play something on the guitar or the piano, but because she's a perfectionist and she loves that diligence and discipline of practice, she will find something that there's a tiny flaw. There is something just not right. And she's very young, so we talk about it, but I've seen this in adults. I've seen this in older individuals. So that becomes a huge mindset shift for us to think about and say, you know what, we are all works in progress. Another cause for imposter syndrome, and if you remember I mentioned this in the previous episode, is people live with a fear of being exposed because they feel whatever they're doing is not authentic, it's not genuine, even though they may have put hours and hours of work into it. So the fear of failure and rejection is a deep-seated fear, and it can come from something that happened in childhood, it can come from something that has happened in a person's life, or it's a mindset that they have that causes them to know that they will feel a sense of judgment, they will feel disappointment, they will feel rejection, and therefore I'm going to downplay everything I do because I know it's going to be rejected anyway. So might as well set my own expectations so that I don't even think about success. Okay. Another one is external validation. Because a person who feels imposter syndrome is constantly seeking or battling that insecurity, they feel comparing oneself to others' achievements alleviates some of that. Sometimes they feel once they do that, they are able to get the validation they need when they know they have done vis-a-vis better than someone else. So their yardstick is always outside of themselves. And that is a locus of control thing we will talk about in a different episode. And finally, of course, one of the deep-seated reasons is also the cultural and family conditioning that an individual has grown up with, whether it's be with siblings, with parents, with their environment. A lot of those play in to these deep-rooted causes. We will examine more next time. Thank you.